Welcome to Cranfield School of Management. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are in the world. Thank you for joining us. My name is Toby. I'm the studio director here at the glorious Granville Turner Studios. And as maybe you've seen from the weather here, not quite so glorious weather. We might even leave that blue film on just to prove that there are some blue skies. Thank you for taking time out of their busy days. We're here talking about meeting the Dean, and you're going to meet the Dean and the Director of Education and the Director of Full-time MBA here at Cranfield in what we reckon to be about 90 minutes. So get comfortable, strap yourselves in, get some liquids or some refreshments nearby. This is going to be an interactive session, so pretty much at any time, send us a question, a comment, a challenge, an observation. We're not going to open the audio channels, just the text chat. You know where text chat is in Zoom. So find that text chat and leave us some sort of comment or question. We recommend the harder the better. So we'll come round to those as best we can throughout the rest of this session. So as I mentioned, we've got the Dean, David, we've got Catarina, the Director of Education, and we have Leila, the Director of the Full-time MBA, 3 superstars here at Cranfield. So hopefully you're ready for that. Before we start, I want us to remind ourselves what an amazing place Cranfield is, and based on the words from a recent blockbuster movie with an aviation theme. Greetings, aviators. Welcome to Top Gun School of Management. Gives me goosebumps watching that every time. It makes me proud to work here at Cranfield. Here is our superstar, Professor David Oglethorpe, joining us. Just a reminder, please, give us those questions, challenges, comments, observations, pretty much at any time throughout the session. Just to prove that we are live, we are also joined by two amazing colleagues too, who are sat in the studio next door to us. We have on the left, Leila. Give us a wave, Leila, just to prove that you are really there. Look at that, amazing. And Catarina, thank you for joining us. We're going to come back to these two later on, talking about the MBA and the broader MSc portfolio here at Cranfield School of Management. So stick around. And those of you, watching the recording, please follow the links and let the conversation continue. So follow those links. David, it's fantastic having you with us.
Good afternoon, Toby. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone else who's attending. It's great to be here.
We want to know more about you, because you're going to be talking a lot about Cranfield School of Management. But first of all, why did you come to Cranfield School of Management? Tell us your journey here.
Okay, I was previously a dean at another UK university business school, and I developed a career in business education. And I always aspired to Cranfield. And to be honest, everyone aspires to Cranfield. Its global reputation and its history is just second to none. It has a phenomenal reputation, and so I always had my sights on Cranfield, and as many people do actually. And I was lucky enough to be able to come to work here and get the job as Pro-Vice Chancellor and Dean, and I haven't looked back. It is a sensational place to work and to study. The opportunity that we give our students, the fact that it's postgraduate and post-experience only, which is a massive boost to the students, but it's also, that's what really makes the place tick as well, as a different type of institution with its real uniqueness and its global reputation. So why wouldn't anyone want to come to work here? It is a remarkable place.
You've seen many different business schools, as you said already, accrediting them. Tell us more about the accreditations that we have. Why are they important for people watching this?
Yeah, so one of the things you'll always hear me talking about is our triple accreditation. In fact, we talk about our quadruple accreditation now. But there are three major international accreditations that business schools worldwide go for. That's the Association to Advance Collegiate Schools of Business, AACSB, the European Quality Improvement System of the European Foundation for Management Development, that's EQUIS, and then the Association of MBAs, AMBA. So those three global accreditations. And there's a very small proportion, probably about 1% of schools worldwide have all three. And I've worked in other business schools in the UK, and I've accredited over 20 schools. I chair accreditations for these organisations in other schools around the world. And that's where I also see the uniqueness of Cranfield. There's so many schools where they've got very similar missions, very similar makeup, very similar education that they provide. Many of them talk about being close to business, but they're not. We are, and I'll explain a bit more about that later. And so you never see anything like this. But the importance of the triple accreditation is that we're accredited on a different wavelength by each of those accrediting bodies. So there are very few US business schools, for example, who will be exposed to anything but AACSB. There's very few European schools who will be exposed to anything but EQUIS. Many are affiliated with AMBA, but you don't get that triangulation of quality assurance effectively. And that's really what the accreditations are. They're assuring the student that they get the best education. And so it's assurance of learning, it's assurance of research quality, it's assurance of facilities, it's assurance of faculty ability, all of those things which make sure that the student's getting the best product that they can get. And being at the centre of all of that in a postgraduate and post-experience only School of Business creates more uniqueness. It's really a special place.
I can sense pride in you describing that. You finally kind of made it home to what you know is a good school based on the measurements.
It is. I mean, it's that notion of, and that's fulfillment in getting
Yes.
to this place that I aspired to is remarkable. And I mean, I'm surrounded by some exceptional individuals, two of which the people are going to meet later. But it's that privilege, actually. I am incredibly proud, but it's a privilege to lead this school as well.
Fantastic. You mentioned close to business.
Yeah.
Close to business, not about business, but for business. Is that rhetoric? What does that mean? What does it actually mean?
So, business schools will always say they're close to business, but you've got to walk the talk. You've got to you've got to make sure that that's the experience that students get exposed to. So, business infiltrates our curriculum, and so we bring practitioners into the classroom. We're very much focused around case study teaching. We have small classes that enable group work to work on real business case studies. But it's the level of engagement with business that we have. We do a lot more contact time in Cranfield than other universities do. It's because we bring in so much of that business aspect and organisational design, organisational development, working with not just businesses but organisations across the spectrum, and really bringing to life any theory that we might be delivering to students as well. So, you know, it's a really important part of the student learning here is that understanding practice is as important as understanding theory, and you won't really find that in other schools, and that's what I see in the accreditations. You know, I say you're a business school and you're supposed to be for business. Where's the business? And it's all the time. It's omnipresent at Cranfield. We are surrounded by business. We bring business into curriculum. We co-design courses with business. We co-produce. We co-deliver, and it's part of the DNA of the place.
How then does the School of Management remain relevant? It sounds like the relationships you've talked about just there keep us on the boil constantly.
They do, because the organisations and the businesses that we work with and who they inform the curriculum. You can't be teaching old stuff. It's all got to be up to date, and you know, and really focusing on the critical issues that businesses are facing. But we also have a faculty team, so our academic staff have industry experience, and that's something that you also don't necessarily see. I myself have worked outside of academia. I've worked in industry for part of my career, and that's a really important feature of the people who are teaching in the classrooms and providing the instruction. They know what business to pull in and what's important to bring into the curriculum.
You recently did a tour of India. Tell us about the international reputation for Cranfield.
I could talk all day about my trip to India.
We'd love to hear it.
It's an outstanding country. It is, and you can tell a country that's had 20 years of growth and development, because it is a major player. But I really learned a lot. So the visit was meeting with some of our recruitment partners over there, and I learned a lot about what students, the changing needs, the really quick changing needs of students are. And one of the things that students really need as an assurance is that they're going to get a job, and it's going to be a good job. And that's what we have an incredible record at. You know, we have an incredible employability record, and we place people in great jobs as well. So I learned that, and I came back from that visit with a reinvigorated, wanting to reinvigorate the whole notion of employability and so on. But that internationalization aspect is important to every business school, because when we develop people and we send them out into workplaces, the workplace is an international environment now. So one of the things that we do at Cranfield, and you may hear more about this later, is we focus a lot on group work, and we have this thing called learning teams. And we make sure that those learning teams are internationally diverse, because that's the environment you're going to be working in. You know, you're going to be working, if you're working in an international organisation, you're going to be working with an international diaspora of people. Mm-hmm. And so that's really important. So having a diverse intake of students from all around the world. And I know we've got, I think, around 50 countries represented today on the call.
Wow.
It's amazing. And that's what the international workforce is like.
It's normal.
So internationalization is really important to us, but it works in two ways. One is how we bring the world to us, and then how we go out to the world as well. And we deliver education, particularly in the post-experience space, all over the world as well. But I could talk for hours about that. Yeah.
We'd like you to. We need to talk about diversity at some point. So if you have a question about that, please challenge us to white males sat in the studio. So that hopefully will come up. We have an international audience. Welcome again. And if you've not had a chance to type a question, and I've seen a ton of questions already, so please type a question into the Zoom text chat. Attendees from all over the world joining today, watching the recording as well, and we look forward to welcoming you at Cranfield. At various stages of their career, how do people choose the right program for them? We're looking at the MBA, we're looking at master's programs. What advice would you give?
Okay, I mean that's a really important question, because it actually reflects the diversity of our program portfolio. So if we start with the MBA, so Cranfield School of Management actually evolved out of an MBA. So the MBA came first, and we were the first to respond to market forces in the UK and develop an MBA, and that was in 1964. So this year's intake, if anyone's joining us this year in September 24, they'll be part of the 60th anniversary cohort. And no one else really has that heritage. But the MBA has always been that focal point, that starting point for Cranfield, and it is very much focused on post-experience, on people who have good work experience and who can join a cohort with similar work experience. However, we do try and assemble a cohort with mixed experience. So someone who's really hungry and only with, say, 5 years work experience and wants to run a new startup is really valuable to the cohort, as well as someone who's got maybe 15 years experience as a COO and wants to go to CEO. Mm-hmm. So we make sure that we've got a really good rounded cohort. So that's the MBA. But as I say, that formed the basis of Cranfield, the MBA, from which our MSc programs emerged. And you'll find that our MSc programs, all the students will find our MSc programs and the style that we teach is quite reflected in that original model. So we use group work. We're very much focused on industry, and we do see many of our MSc courses with people with some work experience already. Some people come straight from their undergraduate degree, but again, that mix is important. So it depends on what stage of career you're at. MBA for that where there's a good work experience, or you've perhaps started a startup and you want to take it to the next level, that kind of thing. And then the MScs that are for people at perhaps an earlier stage of their career development, but still want to make a real change to their prospects, and that's what our MScs will do. And then we have our part-time courses, which obviously means that you can study while still working, and that will suit certain people in certain jobs and in certain organisations. And that can be a really powerful way of moving your career on within the organisation that you work for. So with the full-time courses, you're typically stepping out and moving up, whereas and that could be in any chosen sort of pathway. You'll hear from Leila later about those pathways. But with the part-time courses, obviously you can keep on studying. For the ones that are based in Cranfield face-to-face, there's various patterns to which we do that. So there are courses that might suit different people according to the pattern that we deliver. And then we have online courses. We have a relatively new offering in certain areas on online courses, which suits people around the world who want to keep working at the same time. There are elements of that which are self-paced and elements of that which are live. So we really have the breadth of opportunities for students, but each time you will see the Cranfield flavour in it, the unique flavour, the close to practice, close to business flavour that's going to move you on to a better job, better prospects than anyone else.
How could you not want that? We want you to have that, so we're going to be helping you decide. More on that in a second. If you've not had a chance to ask a question on the Zoom text chat, please go ahead and do that. Observations and challenges too, we are very keen to have those. We want to find out more about these pathways now and the MBA from Leila, Dr. Leila. Leila, tell us a little bit more about yourself before you talk about the MBAs. I know you've got some slides for us. How have you ended up at Cranfield?
In studying at Cranfield School of Management. I'm Leila Alinaghian. I'm an Associate Professor of Business Relationships and Social Impact and Director of MBA. Joined Cranfield in 2015 and prior to that I was a Research Associate at University of Cambridge, where I studied my MPhil and PhD in Manufacturing and Management. So I was sort of transitioning from an engineering technical background into the School of Management, and I absolutely fall in love with the kind of the focus on people and developing talent. So yeah, I absolutely love it at Cranfield. It's an amazing place, and yeah, like David said, we have one of the longest running MBA programs in the UK. So we're celebrating its 6th anniversary this year. So the program has a strong heritage and foundation. And I suppose what makes me really excited about leading the MBA is this sort of amazing and I'd say genuine passion that the entire community have for the program. So I have the easiest job in the world because everybody loves to teach on the MBA. Professors, professional staff, associate, even Toby's delivering a session for us. He loved it so much that he wants to come back. So it's absolutely brilliant. I think there's something magical about the student and alumni community. And I suppose their love and passion for the program. And I always think to myself that they only spend 1 year of their life at Cranfield, but that sort of lifelong kind of connection is brilliant. So I work very closely with the alumni to make sure that we maintain the traditions of 60 years, but also to keep the program exciting for the future generation.
Leila, I know what it is. It's seeing people develop. That is extraordinarily rewarding. Would you agree?
Absolutely, absolutely. I think being part of the journey is something that really excites me. So they keep me on my toes all the time. It's brilliant, but I think seeing them on that journey and how much they transform, they might not realize it from day one that they walk in until they leave the place. It's absolutely satisfying. So yes, absolutely. So the program's got a strong track record of excellence, and as David mentioned, we've been ranked among top 100 MBA programs for several years by various ranking bodies, Financial Times, Bloomberg, QS. I've got some slides to show you. Let me just move to my slides. Brilliant. So yes, I think in February, in the latest Financial Times ranking, Cranfield MBA climbed 8 places, made one of the biggest jumps among any other UK business schools. So very, very proud of that. In recent Bloomberg ranking, we've been ranked first in Europe, ahead of all other European top schools for the quality of our teaching and learning. And I suppose that's a reflection of our approach and philosophy to teaching and learning. I'm sure Catarina's talking about it later a bit more, but yeah, that's quite unique. But also our focus on entrepreneurship and our connection to Bethany Centre for Entrepreneurship. I always highlight the value for money for our MBA audience because we understand that MBA is an investment and we want to make sure that you have a good return on your investment. So we are ranked number 2 in the UK and 18th globally for the value for money. And I suppose that's a reflection of how amazing the graduates do post-MBA in terms of jobs and salaries, but also how hard we work to make sure that we make the program as affordable as possible through various initiatives and scholarships. So I think the diversity rankings really reflect our ethos and values. So we are ranked 3 in the UK for the percentage of female in the classroom, as well as the diversity of background. It's absolutely brilliant. That would mean rich debates and diverse perspectives in the classroom. I would also highlight the fact that the Cranfield MBA is a dual accredited degree. So the program is accredited by the CMI Chartered Management Institute, the only professional body in the UK that is dedicated to promoting leadership and excellence in the UK. So along with your MBA degree, you gain a professional qualification from the CMI, which would give you a career advantage. So over the years, we put many Cranfield MBAs in the C-suite across organizations, across countries, across different sectors. And I think it's brilliant to look at this list. These individuals actually made a significant impact to the practice of management. And I think, being at the helm of businesses that are making a difference to the world every day is really, really inspiring to see. So the MBA will give you a toolkit that you will keep with you even 25 years after your MBA. To quote Chris Ashton, CEO of Worley, the multinational engineering professional services. But I say beyond that, beyond the kind of a set of toolkits and the kind of the application of tools, it would I would say, equip you with a mindset, equip you with a series of meta capabilities. I like to call them meta capabilities, so that when you're in the boardroom, you have the ability to influence, you have the ability to persuade, being authentic, the ability to have the critical thinking, the strategic thinking, being able to see the big picture. And all of the skills that are required for the future, world of work, it will sort of give you that. Some of our graduates, they sort of reach that stage in their career sometime after the MBA experience, but we also see many young senior executives who actually invest in the MBA program because basically they want to unlock the first C-suite role. And I'm quoting James Owen here, who is one of our youngest chief finance officers at Cantor. So if you have passion for leading, if you want to take your career to the next step, if you want to represent Cranfield in the boardroom, you are in the right place. Great. So I just want to use the time to give you a bit of background into the program, very, very briefly, for you to sort of understand some of the elements that David highlighted about our approach to teaching and learning, and also closeness to practice. So the MBA program is delivered in 4 parts. So part 1, which is a spread over 2 terms and lasts for 6 months, will cover 10 core modules, and it will give you contemporary understanding of key functional areas in business and management. Cover a wide range of topics from accounting and finance, economics, entrepreneurship, marketing, strategy, and so on. And the focus on sustainability runs through all of our modules, but we also have a dedicated module to sustainability. Extremely important for us, the sustainability space, and we cover it across the board. You also start 2 important modules in term 1, business analytics and consulting, which is one of the most popular modules. And it's led by Professor Catarina Figueira, who is with me in the studio. So Catarina is brilliant. She wears multiple hats, but as I was talking about the passion for teaching and involvement with the MBA community, she's leading this module for us. The module covers business analytics, qualitative and quantitative, but you actually get to apply them in a real life consultancy project. So we worked with a number of organizations over the years for a student to be able to kind of frame the problem, understand the problem, collect evidence, and sort of come up with pragmatic, innovative solutions at the end. So we worked with large corporates, Calvin Klein, McDonald's, NHS, Barringer Consulting, and as we speak now, students are working with EY on a blockchain technology, very, very complex project, and as they kind of working their way through the project. But also because we kind of very much problem-led, depending on what's going on in the market and the problems that business is facing, the projects tend to be sort of focused on certain areas. So this year, for example, we see a number of AI-related projects and sustainability projects. So this is one of the highlights of the MBA, and students conclude the project at the end of term 3. We invite the client to be part of the assessment. So as David said, we really partner with industry in the delivery as well as assessing. So you also start career development and enhancement module at the beginning of your MBA. This is one of the new features of the MBA program. And we kind of put that in place to be able to systematically support you, as you navigate your career exploration and development. I think one of the challenges that people often face when they study the MBA is the disconnect between the MBA curriculum and career services and career support. And you get your head around various modules and assessment and extracurriculum activities, and sometimes you might lose track of the importance of career development. And this is the very reason that you actually invest in your MBA. So we actually embedded the career development into the curriculum as part of the new MBA design to basically walk you through the steps So we have a comprehensive MBA career development program where the sessions actually build on each other, and we kind of walk you through a process to come up with your career plan and vision by reflecting on yourself, your strengths, and then searching for options, and then utilize the MBA platform to progress towards your career plan, and then submit a career development portfolio at the end of your MBA. And it's proved to be very, very successful so far. So I encourage you to talk to our students who are studying and going through this experience at the moment. In part 2, you gain some discretion over your learning. You get to choose the elective modules from a wide range of options. We have the finance portfolio, corporate finance, for example, investment and risk management. We have the entrepreneurship portfolio, entrepreneurial finance, family business. We have an interesting module on philosophy, leaders as thinkers. That's a new addition and it's quite popular. But you choose your elective modules, 3 elective modules in line with your career aspirations. Part 3 is another new feature of Cranfield MBA, and this is where you get to spend 1 month abroad and a study with our partner business school, ESCP, one of the top schools in Europe, to choose a specialization and complete your second consultancy project. So we partnered with ESCP because for us it's really, really important that international experience is highly regarded in the eyes of employers. So we want you to sort of get out of your comfort zone, get on the road, experience a different educational environment, and specialize and expand your network with other top league MBAs as well as professionals in Europe. So that's one of the highlights. I suppose that's something that kind of set us apart from other MBA programs where they often send a handful of students for exchange programs. So we send the entire class. 2 destinations, Spain and Italy, depending on the specialization, students have the choice. You conclude the program by further customizing your MBA depending on what you want to do next. You can jump on an executive career pathway if you want to join an organization. Post MBA, you can jump on the entrepreneurial pathway if you want to own or grow a business. Or you can actually jump on an independent consulting career if you want to be an independent consultant or advisor. So if you are part of the executive career, which is the, I think, most sort of popular career path, you will need to complete an internship. And that's something that, again, we're very passionate about because it's part of our DNA to engage with industry, and that really gives us a platform to engage, to identify opportunities for students to work, get exposure to the world of work, be placed in an organization, but also for us to get closer to industry and understand the current problems and contribute to the practice of management. So we have a dedicated team who supports us with securing internships. So obviously you can apply to internships that are advertised globally, but we we provide support by giving you Cranfield exclusive internships. So we work with Coca-Cola, for example, this year, with Cerium, with Johnson Matthey, St. Gobain, a number of startups, a Natural History Museum, Civil Aviation Authority. So the portfolio is quite diverse. I hope that gave you a bit of background into the structure of the program. I briefly highlight some of the features on the MBA. I think I kind of covered them all, but we expect from an MBA applicant to have done the homework and understand the features and compare and contrast. But I'm hoping that this slide can actually help you to sort of understand some of the unique features about Cranfield MBA. Obviously, the focus on career development has been at the heart of the MBA design. You have a dedicated career development module. You have a number of one-to-one coaching and advisory sessions. So you will have an dedicated executive coach who will work with you over 8 sessions. You have career mentoring, career coaching. So there are a number of one-to-one interactions with the team, as well as obviously your career pathway. We talked about ESCP and 1 month abroad. You have the opportunity to choose a specialization from consulting, luxury and branding, or fintech, which is quite popular at the moment. Intersection of technology and finance proved quite popular. And then you do a consultancy project in line with their specialization. Real world, we talked about everything that we do is kind of driven by that practical thinking. So you complete 2 consultancy projects, you do your internship, but also a number of competitions that you participate. So MBAs go absolutely crazy with competitions. So they've participated in, I think, plus 20 plus competitions already. They absolutely love it because you pull expertise from a variety of your sources. It kind of goes across functions. So you use your finance knowledge, entrepreneurship, you use marketing, and I think you kind of bring them all together, and it's quite satisfying to see. So we have a lot of good results already. Student being part of the winning team for the Colworth Unilever Challenge, so yeah, I think another reflection of closeness with industry. We also host a number of competitions at Cranfield, venture capital and investment, Unilever, as I mentioned. Focus on personal development. So I think if you ask a Cranfield alum, what is it about the place that makes it a special place, they would tell you the focus on individual. So you're constantly encouraged to reflect on you, who you are and what is it that you want to do, but how you impact other people and people around you. And this is something that, as David mentioned, you will experience in your learning teams, and you can use it as a safer space to experiment different leadership styles, and that's quite powerful. I tell you all about the team dynamic and dramas perhaps at another time, but yeah, it's a good sort of setting. MBA alumni, perhaps we could cover that later as well, but we are very proud of the community. What I want to highlight here is the opportunities that you would have to get exposed to the alumni. I'm very kind of mindful of creating those exposures through, for example, the MBA speaker series. We invite people back from industry. We throw a spotlight on different sectors, for instance. We had an MBA speaker series with financial services. We had people from JP Morgan, from Cantor, MasterCard, Alico Bank, Metro Bank. So we do have a number of a speaker series, and then you get a chance to talk to the alumni. And I'll conclude by mentioning the faculty. I think there is something magical about Cranfield faculty, and people who've been around for a long time might not recognize it, and they might think this happens everywhere. But these people are absolutely brilliant in research, world-class research, applied research. At the same time, absolutely fantastic in delivery and engaging with the class, with the audience in class. And I think those two qualities rarely coexist. So extremely approachable, I would say. My office, I think, fortunately or unfortunately, is outside of the MBA lecture room. So no escape for me from the MBA, no escapes for them from me. And they have a dedicated MBA lounge upstairs. Catarina's office, the MBA lounge. Joe Nellis's office at the MBA lounge. So yeah, so you'd be welcome to a very, very, very close community. Fantastic. So I hope that gave you a bit of an idea about the MBA world. I just wanted to mention the scholarships that we have on the MBA. I mentioned that we're really passionate about making the program as affordable as possible. So we have a range of generous scholarships. I encourage you to engage with the team to better understand about the possibilities. And I leave you with a video to hear from a few MBA alumni about the experience and why they did their Cranfield MBA and what that meant to their life and career.
I think the world needs people who can solve complex problems now more than ever.
Would not have been able to land the type of job and fulfill the type of role that I wanted to without the MBA. So in really simple terms, it enabled me to get the job that I have now.
The MBA really gave me the opportunity to think about where I want to go in life.
Doing the Cranfield MBA brought me right up to being able to walk into a bank like JP Morgan and expecting them to hire me as a VP.
With the MBA program, you have better opportunity to influence others. It's been one of the best things that I've done for myself.
The main thing that Cranfield MBA really gave me was different perspective on how to look at a business and how to deal with people.
I think if pre-MBA me were to meet post-MBA me, she'd be really proud.
Leila, that was amazing. You got me wanting to join the MBA now. So that was astonishing. Your passion really comes across. Just a real quick question from the audience. Why Transformation MBA? What's the transformation aspects?
Yeah, so I think it's one of the common words that we often hear from the alumni. And I suppose it's because I think at Cranfield we focus on the journey, not just the outcome. It is the kind of the journey that sort of brings the change in you to sort of transform your outlook, your mindset, your knowledge, your network. And I think that the outcome would just happen. And I think that's the common word. They all refer to the MBA experience as being a transformative experience and journey.
Brilliant. Don't go anywhere. Loads of questions in the text chat. Please, if you've not had a chance to ask a question, and there are loads already, thank you. And there's some of my colleagues in the text chat too you'll have recognized. So they'll be answering some of the questions. Before we go to Catarina, David, can I come to you first of all? Catarina, stick around, but I've got a question for David. Say more about the alumni aspects of the MBA.
Well, just in that segment there, that video, I mean, if there's any other reason to come to Cranfield, it's because you can join this alumni network. As Leila said, they do say their experience was transformative, but our mission is to transform the practice of management. If you look, it's a very simple mission, but that's what we're here for. But one of the things that came up in that video was, and it was very quick, but we're number one in the world for the breadth and potential of our alumni network for the last 3 years. That's better than Harvard, better than Wharton. It's amazing. And so for any other reason, students should join us to be part of that, because the power of that network globally is astounding. So that's all I want to say.
Wow, that's no small thing there. That's amazing. You heard it here first. Hold those thoughts. Catarina, we're keen to hear about the rest of the portfolio here at Cranfield. But before we do that, before you come to the slides, tell us about your journey to Cranfield. How have you made it here?
Hello everyone. It's so nice to be with all of you here today. So I'm Director of Education at Cranfield School of Management. I'm also a professor in economics and policy. And I am definitely very passionate about Cranfield. I've been here for many years. In fact, I beat David and Leila at that, because I've been here for around 20 years. So it's been quite a long time. So it really demonstrates how much I've been enjoying my journey here at Cranfield. Before Cranfield, I worked at an international organization, but I guess what really attracted me to Cranfield, as we have seen in, even the initial video that we showed, it was the academic rigor that comes with what we do here at Cranfield, but also referring to what David mentioned about our mission of improving the practice of management. Yes, it's about knowledge into action. So the idea that what we do here really has an impact, and often an immediate impact to our partners, to our students, to our clients, businesses. And for me, that is really very stimulating and really rewarding. So I would say those were some key factors that really brought me to Cranfield. And of course, being surrounded by my colleagues who are great and are also, like me, very passionate about this place, and our students, of course.
Catarina, thank you. I know you got some slides. A big shout out, first of all, to Isabella. Isabella, you say you were excited to join. We are even more excited to have you here, so we can't wait. I'll come to that second question that you've got for us later on. So, Catarina, tell us more about the portfolio. You've got some slides for us.
Yes. So obviously, Leila and David talked about the great success that we've had over the years here at Cranfield School of Management, and more widely with the university, but also and particularly with respect to the MBA. Now, obviously, the success that we've had with the MBA for sure has been a foundation and permeates into the other programs that we have across the school. I mean, in fact, a lot of the faculty that teaches on the full-time MBA also teaches on other programs. And so, you can see from this slide that actually we are very proud as well of many other programs that we deliver here at Cranfield. And it really demonstrates, the quality of education that we are providing. Be it if you look at the Financial Times rankings, or whether you choose to look at the QS World University rankings, when we look at subject areas, in terms of the MSCs, we offer programs in 4 key areas. In fact, we are adding another area, which I'll talk about in a little bit, to our MSc portfolio. But if you see, for instance, in finance, in the management theme, strategic marketing, supply chain management, in all those programs and all those themes, we rank within the top 10 in the UK. So it's really, astounding the quality of what we are delivering. And of course, rankings are always a good way to demonstrate the quality of delivery, the quality of our programs in actually meeting the skills gaps in industry, addressing the demands from the market, and obviously the demands from the students that come to Cranfield. So the other thing that I also would like to emphasize, and really to build on what David mentioned, is that we work with a huge amount of organizations from across the world, around 1,500, and not only we work with them, but we co-create programs with them. We co-develop programs, we co-design, we co-deliver, and we invest a lot of time in continuous improvement with those organizations. So all our programs actually are underpinned by industry advisory boards, and representatives from a multitude of organizations sit in those boards to help you make our programs as relevant as possible to address the needs of our students and of businesses. And you can see a variety of organizations there, just to name a few, with whom we work. So, we work with Metrobank, with Procter & Gamble, with M&S, so many that you can see there, and those are just a few. Importantly as well, we work with accreditation bodies, because we see that in the market more and more students, learners in general, want not only to have an academic qualification, but they want to be reassured that actually what we are delivering here is aligned with the requirements in different industries. And there is no better way to demonstrate that by linking our programs and the kind of the content that we deliver in those programs with specific accreditation bodies and what they expect from those qualifications. So, for instance, if you do a banking program at Cranfield, that program is accredited by the Charter Banker Institute. Leila mentioned about the MBA, MSc Management, the Executive MBA. All those programs are accredited by the Charter Management Institute. Our finance program, I would like to say that actually we are a partner university with the CFA Institute, and so obviously if you are doing an MSc in finance, then you can prepare yourself for the exams that are required for the CFA, for a CFA qualification. And the same thing if you do a logistics program or a sustainability program, they are linked to accreditation bodies in that specific area of what you choose to embark in terms of an MSc. So really that demonstrates our connection to business. And the other thing that I would also like to emphasize is, obviously we talk about real world learning, and for sure we provide this to students, and we engage with students, and we engage with businesses and facilitate that networking between students and businesses on a daily basis through a variety of ways. Speaker series, business simulations, company projects, and so on. But I think a great way that really demonstrates, provides evidence of this application of learning into practice is the success that our students have been having in a multitude of competitions that we really encourage them to participate in. And I know that Leila briefly mentioned about that. So, for instance, in 2022, a Cranfield team which brought together students from actually different programs, so they joined forces and they were the winners of the Unilever Challenge. And just very recently, we had a team from Cranfield, which was one of 20,000 teams that entered the Holt Prize global competition. And out of 20,000 teams, our team was one of 6 that actually secured $100,000 in funding, which is, I mean, unbelievable. It's a great achievement, and it really demonstrates that what students learn in the classroom, in their engagement with our speakers, with our lecturers, with themselves, with each other, let's say, that they are really putting that into practice, isn't it? And so I think that the success in competitions really demonstrates that real world learning. And then, of course, I think it's also important to say that our success, obviously, is down to our students that really engage with us, that really care as well about Cranfield, and that, shout about Cranfield out there in the world. We are so proud of what they've been achieving. And again, I have a few alumni there, just to mention, some that have done so well. And so we have, for instance, Sam Jayakumar. He did retail and digital banking with us, and he's CTO at the post office. We have Aisha Ahmad, who did the MSc in finance, and she's a former deputy governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, and many other previous students of ours that now are so successful. And of course, if they are successful, that really means that we are successful. So we are so happy for all the achievements that they have secured. And this, as I said, is just to name a few, because in total we have over 80,000 graduate alumni all around the world. We have over 30 big communities spread over a number of continents, and they cover over 170 countries in the world, which is really astounding, isn't it? So if I just go perhaps in just a little bit more detail, but I'm conscious of the time, and I want us also to allow time for questions. In terms of our full-time MSc portfolio, we currently have 11 full-time MSc courses. They last, the duration of the courses is one year. They're delivered on campus. And yes, when we teach modules, students have the opportunity to do both independent work, but also group work. Teamwork is so important. We think there is great value in people, engaging and working with each other. And just to say that in terms of the full-time MSc courses, they start on the 30th of September. This is just a list of, therefore, our full-time MSc courses. Just to highlight the key themes, therefore, are the finance theme, we have the supply chain theme, we have the management theme, strategic marketing, and we have also a new program on business data analytics, which has been attracting so much demand. So that's coming this September. Just to mention a few features of our MSc courses. So one of the elements that students really enjoy in an MSc course is the opportunity to do company-based projects. And in some cases, like in the case of the MSc Management, with MSc Finance as well, students have an opportunity to do an internship. And this is really important because it gives students the exposure to real business issues. And a lot of times it's actually a stepping stone for students to then find jobs, sometimes in the organizations where they do internships. And we have seen that. For instance, if I think about the MSc Finance, more than half of the students that undertook an internship actually went on to get offers from the companies with whom they did those internships. Another feature that, again, we offer in several programs, and I highlight there our management MSc, is the 1 month study tour. So during 1 month, students who undertake this course have the opportunity to really immerse themselves in the culture in Spain, so in the Spanish culture, and they will be exposed with they will be exposed by you know, the business way of doing of working in an organization in Spain, and therefore what they do is they will be working intensely with people from senior management teams from different organizations. So in the past we've had students working with Ernst & Young, with Citigroup, Radisson Hotels, so a variety of different businesses. And obviously they develop also their expertise in consulting, because that's one of the modules that they actually undertake whilst in Spain. Before I finish, I would also like to highlight our part-time program portfolio, because I think there are a number of individuals that are interested potentially in our part-time offering. In the interest of time, of course, I won't go into a lot of detail, but of course feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions. I know that several people are potentially interested in our Exec MBA. Just to say, the Exec MBA is a program that we deliver in partnership with Grant Thornton. It is also accredited by the Charter Management Institute, and a little bit like with the Full-time MBA, obviously over the course of around 2 years, students have the opportunity to then choose a pathway that they may be more interested in, whether it's the commercial pathway, the entrepreneurship pathway, or a finance-specific pathway. The program takes a more blended learning type of approach. We work very closely with employers, and there is also a strong element of executive coaching throughout the program. The other thing I would like to say is that Cranfield is part of the EMBA consortium, which is an international collaboration of many universities, around 10 universities across the world. And that is great for our students because it gives them also the opportunity to have an international experience. And students can choose from as far afield as California or Japan, Italy or South Africa. So they have plenty of choice as well for an international experience. So just to say that really from everything that I said and from what my colleagues said, a degree at Cranfield is much more than a qualification. It's about investment in your personal development. It's about the close relationships that you are able to develop with your peers and with the staff at Cranfield and with our alumni. I like to say that despite the fact that actually we have a huge network of alumni, we are like a big family here at Cranfield. Finally, I would like to stress that for full-time MSc courses, we have a range of scholarships as well. Some of them are merit-based. So, for instance, if you feel that you are about to have a first in the degree that you may be completing, or you already have a first or a second class, then a 2-1. You may be entitled for a scholarship up to 20%. And that's automatically applied as soon as we review your applications. your application. We also have some regional scholarships that cover individuals that apply from the Americas, from Europe, from the MENAT region, and from different parts in Asia. And we have some specific country scholarships, particularly for Bangladesh and Nigeria at the moment. But importantly, and today is the 28th of March, so I need to stress this, today is the last day. If you are applying, if you're thinking of applying to Cranfield, today is the last day to benefit from an additional 5% discount in terms of the fees. So if you can, and if you were already thinking of applying to Cranfield, please submit your application, because today is the deadline for this additional 5%. And I think that's all from me. Okay. I'm happy to take any questions.
Point on that last point about the 5%, is that a deadline tonight UK midnight UK time?
Yes, it is. Yes, yes.
Brilliant. Just so you got that here. So thank you. I've just been watching the text chat. Helen Knight, we love you. And I think quite a few of the people on the text chat are loving you too. So a big shout out to Helen. This is the application process. It's been made very smooth. So please have a look at that text chat. David, what do you take away from that, from what Catarina was saying? It's an amazing MSc portfolio.
It is amazing. I mean, what Catarina really stressed as well was that closeness to practice. You know, the fact that we have internships, the fact that we have study tours, and we're working with other partner organisations that we co-design, co-deliver. You just don't see that anywhere else. It is a remarkable feature of the Cranfield learning experience. I think what's also different about our experience, and we haven't really talked about that, is the fact that I said at the beginning, we're postgraduate only. So you're not sharing a campus with thousands of undergraduates. It's your library. It's all the facilities yours. The bars and so on are the postgraduates only. But it's a beautiful campus as well. You know, we're in the middle of Bedfordshire, but we're 40 minutes by train from London to London. So we're really accessible across the country, but we're in this beautiful campus which creates a real immersive learning experience, and the postgraduate students get that all to themselves. But we also, the facilities as well, because we don't have undergraduates, we don't have the temptation to build lots of great big lecture theatres. Mm-hmm. So we don't then teach master's students in great big lecture theatres. We teach in small classes. And that is really different, I have to say, compared to the other universities I know and schools of business I know. Teaching master's students in large classes, you know, around 200 students, just doesn't happen here. We teach in small classes, so you're talking about classes of 50, 60 students. And if we have more students on the course than that, we'll double up, we'll repeat teach, we'll have streams. And that is unique. That really is unique. And people who've been here, like Catarina's been here for 20 years, forget how unique and special the place is.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And you can even start your own business whilst you're here with the entrepreneurship angle.
Well, and wow, that team.
What a better place.
$100,000.
Amazing.
Unbelievable.
Amazing.
Just, you know, for a team of students to win that.
Astonishing. Yeah. Okay, fundamental question. People may be thinking, and you might be thinking, and if you haven't asked a question, please do that. What professional experience do you expect people to have to come to Cranfield?
Well, of course, it depends on the different courses. Leila may want to say something particular about the MSc, but we get people from all sorts of different backgrounds. We don't, you know, people may go into financial services, for example, but they may not come to us with a financial service background. We actually take on quite a lot of, as many management schools do, we take on people from engineering, and we give them the business skills and their organisational development skills and the leadership skills to move on in their sectors. So we're largely sector agnostic. So it doesn't really matter what sector you're coming from. It's about the individual, about the leadership. I don't know, Leila, if you say anything about the diversity of students on the MBA, for example, from the sectoral background, because that's one of the things we really highly rank in as well.
3 years of experience, but as David said, we are ranked third in the UK for the diversity of background. So in the class, we have people from financial services, consulting, energy, healthcare, social sector, consumer goods, engineering, technical backgrounds, tech backgrounds, and I think that would mean really rich debates and diverse perspective in the classroom. It would hugely contribute to the learning. I think on the MBA, as much as you learn from the professors and people at the front of the class, you learn from each other, and I think that quality of the peer network that exists, I think is really powerful. And yeah, I think there are many business schools, especially on the MBA program, that actually recruit from a certain sector, a bias towards financial services or consulting. I think that's an area that we always been passionate to create a very diverse class from sector background, but also nationalities. So we create learning teams, as David mentioned, and bring people together from various professional backgrounds, but also countries, gender, and I think it's kind of that diversity is really sort of, I think in a way we kind of infuse friction into the learning teams, and we want students to sort of use those opportunities to kind of learn and develop.
Leila, thank you. Before we come back to the Q&A, which there are thousands of questions of, thank you. Just a quick one, David, for you, a chance for you to talk about maybe the future of the School of Management. Where do you think the institution is headed?
I think importantly, Catarina picked on there on one of our new courses in business data analytics. We're actually already running short courses in AI, so artificial intelligence as well. We're always looking at what the future skills are needed for the workforce and for what students are going to want to demand, the skills they're going to need to compete in a global workforce. So we're always developing our courses, and the future will see that change. We have an MBA that's been running for 60 years, and it's the style of teaching that is unique to Cranfield, which will remain, but the content will change. Leila said, the MBA is now interspersed with sustainability as part of its DNA, which it wouldn't have had 10 years ago. And that reflects the changing research backgrounds of the faculty who are delivering on the courses with great enthusiasm. So as we start to research more and more cutting edge areas of business practice, that filters through into the curriculum. So you will always see change at Cranfield. And because we're a small institution, we're agile and we can drive those changes quickly.
Brilliant. I was going to ask you about sustainability, but you kind of answered it there. This really is time for us to do a Q&A because you've got a ton of questions. Quite a few of them are oriented towards scholarships and payments and fees. Quite a few of those have been answered already, but please keep them coming in. Leila, I think the first one is to you, and it's from the amazing Isabella. Isabella, shout out to you again. Isabella's asking, can you share some details about the post-MBA career support offered to help students to re-enter the job market? Does this support include companies outside the UK?
Thank you. Thanks, Isabella, for the question. As I said, we recognise the significance of career outcomes and career development, and that is the reason that we sort of embedded the career development into the MBA. So we have a 20-credit module on the MBA. From day one that you arrive, we walk you through various steps in terms of you reflecting on yourself, your strengths, your weaknesses, your motivators, but also researching different options. So we have access to a number of databases in terms of industry trends, organization profiles, jobs, salary levels, and we want you to do the research to be able to kind of come up with a realistic career vision and career plan. So students tend to submit that early at the end of term 1, early December. This is part of the assessment. You receive feedback on that. But then the point about utilizing the MBA platform to basically close some of the competency gaps that you identified on that career plan is really powerful. For example, we have a number of networking and discovery sessions where I invite practitioners to come in and do company insight session. You hear from, for example, a student heard from Google, from EY, from IBM, from Alico Bank. So they come in and talk about the companies and the opportunities and the roles that are emerging and the challenges that industry actually facing. We have a number of employer engagement activities. For example, we had a School of Management career fair earlier. We have something coming up in the summer. So you have a chance to engage with practice. We also, through the alumni network, you also have access to career mentoring. So we have a platform where you can express your interest, and then we pair you up with one of the alumni who actually been there, done that, and can actually support you on that journey. The number of initiatives sort of endless. We have another initiative called Executive in Residence, and this is to do with bringing people in the C-suite back to campus and connect with the MBA students. So through the Executive in Residence, you get a half an hour one-to-one conversation with a CEO in one of the top companies to understand how they've done that, how they kind of crafted the journey. So you are in the driving seat, but we provide immense support around that. And I think their structure matters because usually, as I said in the past, the MBA program used to distract people from progressing towards career goals, but because it's embedded into the MBA program, everything that you do is in line with what you want to achieve. And that is even the internship that you will complete over the summer, that is the international experience and the specializations and elective modules that basically you choose. You have access to, for example, career advisors, career coaches. You will also have an executive coach, 8 one-to-one executive coaching sessions that will actually help you to sort of organize your thoughts and kind of, because your understanding evolves, your interest evolves, so you discover passion that you never knew you had on the MBA as part of that sort of journey. You have lifelong support, career support as well when you finish the program. So we have an MBA employer engagement manager who is dedicated to the MBA job opportunities, identifying for them and supporting them to progress is hugely important to us, that focus on career development and outcome.
And stick around, Leila, because there's another question here from Lakshman. Are there something like on the website snapshots of MBAs coming out in 21, 22, 23 around salaries? Do you have that information somewhere?
Yes, so I think the Financial Times is a best sort of platform to use when you want to look at post-MBA salaries. So, so the last group that were surveyed, actually the salary post-MBA increased. We're really proud of that. It's about 130K 3 years post-MBA. Also, the employer stats is around, I think, 88% employed 3 months post-MBA. And I think you have to kind of take this sort of a statistic with a pinch of salt, because obviously some people choose to kind of pursue other options, for example, further education, or they start a business, and obviously they wouldn't, they're not part of that sort of a statistics. But yeah, so again, if you want to learn more about the statistics, the team can obviously share further details in terms of the destinations that the student go to. But yeah, it's sort of, because we receive a diverse class, naturally they would go to different sort of professions. So financial services, consulting, energy, healthcare. And because, like David said, we have a relatively small class, we follow everyone's journey, you know, very closely. So I'm waiting for good news nearly every day for someone to sort of contact and say, oh, I got my job. And I think it's just it's just constant, and it's just really kind of inspiring to be part of that, even when they finish the program.
That's so rewarding to hear. David, you can comment on that.
Yeah, just a point on that. I mean, again, I'd come back to this fact that we are postgraduate only. And so the careers service is focused on postgraduate outcomes and experiences and careers. And generally at other universities, they're focused on the undergraduates, and they're not really helping postgraduates. And so our careers support is dedicated to postgraduates and that type of job market. And it's completely different, you know, and we get it right. And as a university, our graduate outcomes is something like 92%, I think, which most universities, it's about 80%. So 92% as a university, in placing people into postgraduate level jobs is what we're all about.
Brilliant. Catarina, I've got a question for you. This is people thinking of coming back from a career, maybe back from having a child. What advice would you give if people are dithering, are thinking about it, but they're not quite sure? Because it sounds quite a commitment, the portfolio that you described.
Yes. So is there anything specific in terms of whether they would like to do a part-time program or a full-time program?
It's both of those.
Both of them. Okay. So I mean, if people have an opportunity to come and visit our campus, you will see that we have incredible facilities for our students, but also for their families. So we have accommodation that is specific to students that come with families. There are a number of clubs and other supporting facilities for individuals and their partners to be involved in the life at Cranfield, for their children as well if they come with children. So if someone comes as a full-time student, for sure they won't feel that they are the only ones that come with their family, and they are very much welcome. And I think we are, one thing that is great as well, one of the distinctive features about our campus is the fact that it is, beyond the fact that it is in a great area. When it's sunny, the fields are green and it's beautiful, but also it's a very safe environment, because despite the fact that we are very close to London, Birmingham, Oxford and Cambridge, actually we are almost like a village, and everybody knows each other. The people that are on campus are like-minded individuals that are mature, are experienced, so they are at similar stages in their careers. So you will feel that you are supported by the Cranfield community. If you choose to do a part-time program, perhaps because you don't want to leave your job, or because it's not the right time now to pursue a full-time program, then again, we try to provide programs that are as flexible as possible, that are as inclusive as possible, so that we facilitate the learning and a great learning experience for those individuals that obviously have to juggle lots of things in life. So for instance, most of our programs, our part-time programs nowadays, are delivered in a blended way, whereby there is part of the preparation that they have to do. They can do it in an asynchronous way, and then in some cases they come to Cranfield, but in other cases, like for instance with our banking program or our sustainability program, students can join online. So it really depends on the program, but it also depends on the circumstances of individuals. And we always like to hear from them so that we can really cater for the needs of our students.
Catarina, as a follow-up point on something you mentioned earlier about the 5%, Mukul has a question. Could you kindly provide clarification on whether the 5% discount applies to the application fee that needs to be submitted by the 28th, or if it pertains to a deposit that must be made by the same deadline?
No, it's so the 5% relates to the application being done today and relates to the fee, to the total fee that the individual would need to pay. So provided you don't have to pay the deposit today, you need to apply today, so that when you receive a letter saying you need to pay your deposit by this amount, we will also take into account the 5% of the fee.
Brilliant, thank you.
Okay.
Question for David. This is a good one. I'm surprised not more people have asked this one. Could you share some insights into student life at Cranfield? You're stuck in the middle of nowhere, some would say. What can you do?
Well, we talked a lot about this in India, actually, because the subject about whether people can do part-time work, for example, came up. And there is lots of opportunity for that, but we do a lot more delivery than other universities do. So you get a lot more bang for your buck in terms of face-to-face, in terms of classroom time, workshop time, working with working with in your groups and with the business case studies and so on. So you are immersed in that Monday to Friday. But that's what the campus does. The campus creates that environment for you. Then we tend to find our students will go maybe into London at the weekend. They'll take the opportunity. As Catarina says, it's 40 minutes north to Birmingham. It's 40 minutes south to London. It's half an hour over to Oxford. Half an hour over to Cambridge. I mean, the UK is a small place, but we're right bang in the middle of all the good stuff. And that's pretty much what students will do at weekends. But during the week, there's so much good facility here. There's, we've got a brilliant sports centre, playing fields, Cranfield Students Association. There's loads going on, and actually, there's always loads going on in the School of Management. We have events going on most evenings, whether it's in the MBA speaker series or whether it's in the Bethany Entrepreneurship team, putting on speaker series or entrepreneurs in residence talking about their experience. You can get a slice of pizza and a beer most nights.
Sounds good.
In Somme at any of those events.
Wow. Leila, I've got a question for you. This is around the investment. An MBA is a big investment. You know this. Are you regularly speaking with students as to why, for them, MBA is not a prohibitive cost? Say more about that.
Yeah, so I think I mentioned earlier about the value for money, and David mentioned as well. So I think we have one of the highest value for money courses among ranked schools, and this is to do with what you achieve post MBA in terms of the types of job that MBA secure and the salary that they receive post MBA, but also the relatively lower fee compared to other sort of business schools in the UK. And I would say the reason that we are really passionate about offering a scholarship is to kind of create this opportunity for people who cannot afford a larger investment. So our scholarships are mainly merit-based, but we take into account the need of the audience as well. So yeah, I really encourage the MBA audience and those who are interested in the space to kind of explore our scholarships. We have a wide range of scholarships. A number of scholarships actually are alumni funded, and I think that the beauty of that is that you receive the funding, but also the relationship that actually comes with the scholarship, with the senior alum, and the mentoring that you receive as a result of that. But I think you need to be in a sort of a headspace that you are ready to sort of make that investment, because it's an investment, financial investment, but also your time. And you need to be sort of ready for that kind of intensive, high-pace experience, which turned out to be the most rewarding experience, but it's a kind of a preparation. So many people actually plan for the MBA experience for a very, very long time and be very mindful of that. And I think that's a great thing about the MBA audience, is that I think unlike many other groups that I taught, with the MBA, because they make a conscious choice to take a pause, to take a career break, sometimes they can't see the light at the end of the tunnel, so they are on that journey. Therefore, they're giving it all, giving it 100% to make it work. You don't have the distraction of work in the background, and you are in a stage in your career that consciously you want to take it to the next level. You want to transition industry, you want to change your function, or you want to take up a more senior level role. So I think I really enjoyed the fact that they kind of the level of engagement, because they make that decision to invest, and they determined to get something out of that investment.
Thanks, Leila. 6 minutes remaining. Real quick and simple question. Leila, for you with the MBA, is there a typical day on the MBA, and what's it like? How would you describe it? David's shaking his head here.
Yeah, it's utter madness. I mean, it's it varies. So we tend not to put more than 6 hours of lectures on every sort of typical day, because we want to allow time for preparation. So it's really important to come to class prepared, read the case studies and the kind of the reading that you need for each lecture. But then they wouldn't leave the place. So they come in, they go to the lectures. As I said, we see them around the forum, lunchtime. And then at the MBA lounge, they tend to stay till quite late to kind of work on the group projects. I think Catarina's office is just at the MBA lounge. Yeah, I think it becomes the sort of the home. In a sense. We do also have a very unique, Cranfield unique assessment on the MBA called VAC. VAC is a written assessment of a case. If you mention VAC to any Cranfield MBA alum, you start the conversation immediately, you hit it off, because that's something that they can relate to a lot. I mean, we've been at an alumni award last week, and I think people, even after 30 years, are still talking about the pain of a VAC. It's a 24-hour assessment, time compressed. You receive a case 10 a.m. and you've got to submit the case next day at 10 a.m. And obviously students stay up all night and kind of work on the assessment. So as David said, we also host a number of guests, you know, a typical week. We have them for the MBA speaker series, for practitioner workshops, sometimes for alumni workshop. They come in and run workshop for us. They attend the alumni pub night sometimes. The first Tuesday of every month, we all gather in a pub in London. So students sometimes join us there. So yeah, it really varies. And I think the bond that they form as a result of, I think there's something about Cranfield location that kind of creates that level of relationship, because I think when you study in London, obviously people live in different places and you're spread out. So I think that focus, that lack of distraction in a sense, leads to those you know, lifelong friendships, I'd say.
I take from this, David, that I can't tell where the fun stops and the learning starts. You can, clearly. It's all serious learning, right?
I think it's thinking, what is a typical day? I mean, what thing Leila talked about is that we really focus on the individual, and individuals are different, right? And so the makeup of the cohort is different every year. And individuals are different every day. You have good days, you have bad days.
Yep.
So a day in the life of an MBA student is something that's highly variable, but it is dynamic. The experience is dynamic. You walk into that classroom, you get this real sense of energy and dynamism that you don't see elsewhere. You know, it's that everyone has a passion. Everyone who is here has a passion for learning, both the faculty and the students, and you see that every day. And yeah, I think you're underselling a whack, Leila. The alumni love it, and they've almost been demanding that we do more of them. Put the students through it, but it's kind of experience you will get in an organisation. You know, you're landed with a project, you're landed with an issue, you're landed with a crisis. Deal with it. You've got a day to deal with it, and that's what we're doing.
How realistic is that? In the 3 minutes we have remaining, Catarina, can I come to you? What advice would you give to people now, maybe in receipt of an offer? What should they be doing?
So I would say if they have an offer, they should start engaging with the community. You know, talk with alumni. Start preparing for what is to come. So start engaging with the subject that you're going to focus on whilst you are here. Maybe contact some of our current students as well. I mean, as I said, the Cranfield community is a very close-knit community, and they've benefited, the students that are here now, they've benefited from our alumni, and they will benefit from the wider network of alumni that we have. So it's never too early to start engaging with the community. If you can, come to Cranfield, experience things here on campus. If you have any questions, feel free to get in touch with faculty, and also start preparing your CV, because that's one of the first things when you arrive. I mean, like Leila mentioned, we have a careers service that will help you develop your CV, talk to you about, okay, so what do you want out of the program, what are your aspirations. So again, it's never too early to start thinking about that, to preparing for what is to come in terms of your development whilst you are at Cranfield, and how you then are going to demonstrate that in your CV in preparation then for future jobs, for where you want your career to take you. Really.
Brilliant. We've got 30 seconds remaining. In 30 seconds, what should people be thinking of coming to Cranfield?
If you're lucky enough to have an offer, accept it. If you haven't applied yet, apply. If I could have my time again, I'd study here.
Wow.
I mean, I think we'd all say that. I'd love to be taught by Catarina and Leila. Go for it. Do it. Come to Cranfield.
Do it. You heard it here first. Do it. We want you to do it. Leila, thank you so much indeed. Catarina, thank you for both of your passions.
Pleasure.
David, thank you so much indeed. We have run out of time. We can talk to you an awful lot more. Thank you for joining us. Please watch out the recording. You can watch some of this again. Find out more on the website, obviously. You can book a session with the admissions team, so you can find out more about how to do that and sign up for upcoming events. So we really look forward to welcoming you here at Cranfield School of Management. The studio managers today were Marco Gomez and Robin Hackett. The producers were Tammy Argent-Peters. My name is Toby Thompson. Thank you for watching.
Bye-bye.